Mm. Oh, number day. That day, the catchy bolo, eh? Bakaji Beverly, like bolo, you make way for you. Oh, but no one be at Unia. Bakaji Ben energy. That day, the catchy ball. Anyway, ya dear Codori, Mano, Kawaka, Tamichi, Jimmy Joe. Anyway, ya no warm, ya Alabama job in a bayom. That veggie. Veggie.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Director, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope all is well.
Yes,
We are happy to meet.
Where is your face? I'm not seeing you.
I just muted. I was on and watching everybody, but I just muted the video.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's time. We are 14 in number, and I'm sure we have to start now. Gilbert is there. Mr. Adade, thank you very much for linking us. Gilbert Asedu, thank you so much. I think Director Comfort, can we start?
We can start because of the time. Let's start. We have
Okay.
60 people. It's okay. Let's start.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Dokonu, Pastor Dokonu, are you there?
Dokodi. Yeah, Dokodi.
Okay.
Dokodi.
Thank you very much. Tokoji. Okay. 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 That's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Danielson. Mr. Danielson, if you are there, then you take it over. Hello, Danielson. I think Danielson is not there. So I'll hold the fort till he comes back. So, Mr. Dokoji, please give us the opening prayer.
Okay. With opportunity. It is a privilege to for a purpose. Now we need to begin with nothing can one heart, one mind to that is into the hand of God. Let's pray. Precious Father, it is such a wonderful time that you have the part of the day that you have made for us to rejoice to be glad in you. Today is marking the subject. We pray and we take this gathering, this meeting into your hand. We seek your protection. We seek your wisdom. We seek your knowledge. Seek your direction in the affairs of this meeting. It is our heartfelt desire that whatever we will do today will be an impact into every family, in every home. That the areas that we are lacking, as this meeting is coming on, I pray that words that will come out will be a word that will fill every hole that is needed in every family. Whatever families are lacking, we pray that with the wisdom that will be shared today, we will be able to have solution to our family issue. That together in our family, we can be able to build up a vibrant family, that we can be able to build up a vibrant nation. At the end of the day, the glory shall be given unto you. I invoke the power of God over this very meeting and disarm every force or forces that may rise against this meeting. In the name of Jesus Christ, we release the power of God to take over and saturate in this very meeting, that at the end of all, we shall be careful to give you the glory and honor. We give you all the praise. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank
Amen.
you very much.
God bless you.
I can I
God bless you.
now see Danielson and I can feel his voice. So, Mr. Danielson, Ntiamwa,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay, take over from me, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for taking my position while still putting things in place. Today marks the International Day for the family. And then as such, we deem it a very great privilege to be part of this honorable event to celebrate and remember our family, which includes myself and you as a participant. You know, in the socialization process, we know it begins with the family. So today we have to honor them and also give it a very
Danielson, please unmute yourself. There was an issue. Please unmute yourself.
Is it okay?
Yes, please.
You muted me, right? Can I proceed? Hello? Hello? Mr. Ari, can I proceed? Is everything okay?
Yes, please. Yes, please. You can proceed. You can hear
All right.
you.
All right. Thank you very much. So, as like I was saying, process, and for that matter, I will give it a very deserving recognition that we're supposed to. So, today, we have some important personalities that are celebrating today's day with us, and I will be much grateful, privileged to introduce them, so that along the line they will also join us if they are here too. Then we give them the recognition that it deserves. So, without wasting much time, we have on our list our mother, Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection is with us here as a special guest, and in the person of Honorable Namomo Lati. We welcome you to be part of this great discussion here. We also have our National Director, Department of Social Welfare, the Chairman of Public Service Commission will also be part of us here. We also have the Office of the Head of Local Government Representative, Mr. Brian Chikbo, is also here. Chief of Child Protection Unit, UNICEF, is also with us here. Of course, we can't celebrate this day without inviting them. And our National Director, Department of Community Development, is also here with us. The Executive Secretary, Gasso, is here. The Head of Service, Office of the Head of Civil Service, is also here with us. Country Director, SOS Village, we welcome you to be part here. We have our own lawyer, Sheila Minka, is also here. Then Country Director, International Justice Mission, is here. Lawyer Ajma A.K.A. Ajingo is also here. We have the Country Director, Chance for Children, is also here with us. Then we have the Social Workers Association of Ghana Technical Advisor, Madam Temile Akotia Susan, is also here. Then we have Dr. Erica Dixon, a social worker and a doctor at the 37 Military Hospital, is also here with us. We have Professor Kwabena Frempoma, who is based in South Africa, is also joining us here. Professor John Buala Foko is also here. And we have our TV representative, Portia Gabo. She will still be here and join us. If she is here, we are welcoming her. Then Mr. Theophilus Akwe from Metro TV will also join us very soon. Then we have Mr. Adapter, GH1 TV. They have been of great help, support to us. They are also joining us today to celebrate this day. We welcome all of you to be part of this very important program here. We also have our mother, who is the former National Director of Department of Social Welfare. Our own Reverend is here. Reverend Comfort Asare is with us here. And then she will be the next person that I'll introduce to take over, to give us the overview of the day, which is the International Day of the Family, in the person of Reverend Dr. Comfort Asare. With a round of applause, let's welcome her to take up the podium to give us this very important overview. Reverend, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so grateful to you for your wonderful introduction. The President of the Association of Social Workers, special guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, all the dignitaries introduced, panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and members of ASO. I bring you greetings from my board members. I am glad that after retirement, I launched my non-profit organization, CA Happy Family Movement. And I'm so happy that in collaboration with ASO, we have organized this webinar to remind all that families have a huge responsibility in nation building. We all know that families are the foundation of childhood. They shape identity, nurture dreams, and provide safety. But not all families begin with the same resources. Inequalities in income, education, and housing create different realities for children. Families pool resources, transmit norms, social capital, and expectations across generations. Inequality doesn't just happen between individuals. It comes through families. And we all know, as the moderator said, through socialization. The International Day of Families is observed on the 15th of May every year to provide an opportunity to promote awareness of issues relating to families and to increase knowledge of the social, economic, and demographic processes affecting them through awareness-raising events. And this is what ASO has supported for us to organize. And I'm so grateful to ASU. ASU is hardworking, and I commend ASU. The UN theme for 2026, International Day of Families, is Families, Inequalities, and Child Well-being. The celebration aims to contribute to enhance global understanding of how inequalities undermine family and child well-being and promote investments in integrated, family-oriented policies. The UN encourages all member states to highlight good practices in family policy making to reduce inequalities and promote child well-being and share international good practices, including universal child benefits, parental leave systems, affordable early childhood education, and community-based family support services. The celebration focuses on integrating the role of the family as a central enabler and contributor to social development and promoting social and economic policies that are designed to meet the needs of families and their individual members and promote investments in early childhood development. In our part of the world, social welfare has worked very hard, and other social workers, to make sure that children start school early by attending daycare centers, because parents were saying it was a waste of resources. But we thank God now a lot of people understand that children, no matter the years, the age, they need better care. So you don't put them on your back and roam on the streets, even though we see some people still doing it. Some children walk into classrooms ready to learn, supported by parents who can afford to support. They have healthy meals and safe neighborhoods. Others carry the weight of poverty, hunger, and stress. These inequalities are not just numbers, they are lived experiences. Most of us think about inequality as something that happens between people and tend to blame the government, but a lot of inequality gets built from the family background. Of course, we can never be equal, but there could be equal opportunities for all through policies. And also, families are where money, time, expectations, and connections get pulled and passed down. Some people we say are born with silver spoons in their mouths. They don't struggle at all. Others too, they struggle. That's why we are seeing some children growing up on the streets. So that's why two children who go to the same school can end up with very different starting lines. Some children never get attention and proper upbringing because of a parent's work schedule or economic capability. In a household with one working parent and a lot of stress, that attention gets squeezed. Not because parents care less, but because there are only 24 hours in a day and bills don't pay themselves. You have to work to get money to pay your bills. That's why you see consistent gaps in development of children, especially in school performance and overall wellness between children from a stable two-parent home and from a high conflict or unstable home. It's not about moralizing families. It's about time, stress management, and adequate care. In Ghana, there are laws to promote the well-being of children, as well as excellent policies, but we still see children on the street during school hours. Parents or guardians begging with children on the streets, children growing on the streets and living under harsh conditions that is likely to limit the ability to break the poverty cycle of the family. Child abuse in various forms is still prevalent. Family poverty affecting lives of members, families disintegrating, failing family support systems, among others. A lot is being done, but still a lot needs to be done. It is in line with the UN core objectives that we organize this webinar to critically examine the situation in our country. The objectives of the webinar as follows: determining how economic, social, and demographic factors influence families, creating stronger family support systems, and addressing inequalities to improve children's development and well-being, and to support government to reduce inequalities affecting families. In conclusion, families are the primary units of socialization, care, and protection for children. Families are both the front line of child protection and the site where inequalities manifest most sharply. And I know that with all of us joined together today, we shall have a fruitful discussion and be able to end up with very good conclusions that will guide us in our work with families and children. Thank you for your attention and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our mother, Reverend Dr. Comfort Asare. Thank you for this very short but very succinct and detailed message that you've given to us. Inequalities, as you mentioned, it is our hope that the gap or the bridge will be closer so that the inequalities gap will not be that wide as we are strengthening our families. So I would say it is in this regard that we have the Child and Family Welfare Policy, which Director, you yourself, you were part of this formulation of this policy to help our nation to move in line of proper child and family welfare, strengthening capacity of families and then protecting children. Thank you so much for this deep message that you give it to us. We appreciate it. Let's do it better with a round of applause and give it to our own Reverend Doctor for the wonderful message that she has given to us. God bless you, Mommy. God bless you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So without wasting much time, we take another presentation from Mr. Gilbert Amwabeng Esiedu. If he's already here with us, Mr. Gilbert Amwabeng Esiedu will be presenting on key actors of the family, that is parents, children, and external forces. Mr. Esiedu, welcome, take the podium and then give it to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Daniel.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so please, let me just check.
We are listening, Mrs. Yedu.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Mr. Daniel. Standing on all the existing protocols that has already been mentioned by Doc, I say good afternoon to everyone, and also brings you greetings from Chance for Children. I am Gilbert Esiedu Amwabeng, as Daniel has said, and I serve as a regional. I serve as a regional manager for the southern part of the work we do across Ghana in Chance for Children. And Chance for Children, briefly, is a non-profit organization that has been working in Ghana for the past 26 years from 8 locations. That is Kumasi, we have a branch in Oti, Takoradi, and here in Accra, with other satellites location within Kaswa and Tema. And for us, we want to ensure that every street-connected child and the young persons have the opportunity for a brighter future. So everything we do is anchored on actually some 4 key pillars, that is safety, education, health, and economic empowerment also as well. And we do this through other various form of like as in other interventions. So we have our daily street outreach where we engage with children, with families on the street, build trust and assess their vulnerable situations. And we believe that, as Doc said, the family is a basic social unit of the society and is the foundation for us to build a proper child protection. So we also do family strengthening. We believe in reintegration, that every child needs to live in a better society and then a better living condition. And we won't wait for children leave or families leave from families and relocate to street. So community-based prevention is also key. As part of the experiences, I would also share what has also informed is that I'm also like an international child protection assessor for UK local authorities as well. So we assess families, we ensure assessing families are safeguarded, every decisions we take and how they are protected as well. So we bring that experience in there, and a few dissertations that I'm working on, how we would explore how family strengthening would also impact the child and youth, like migration onto the streets of Accra. So and then I think it would focus on everything that we are discussing today. So I am really very much happy and honored to be here on this platform today. And I say thank you to SWAG, the leadership of SWAG, that's the Social Workers Association of Ghana, for this, like I said, invite also as well. Thank you. So we would, I would want to start with something real, a short brief story from our fields. We came into contact with a mother of 4 who on the streets, on the hotspots that we work with, and she also works other 3 jobs, shuffles those 3 jobs, work for people within their neighborhoods, wash for them, go to the market to carry loads for people, also selling also as well. And one would say that she's working, juggling from 3 jobs. So definitely she should be able to provide the care for her children. But the sad thing is that she wasn't able to afford to meet the basic needs of her children. By the time we got into contact, her eldest child had been on the street for about 6 months. Not because she decided to send him there, and not because she wasn't caring and wanted to like us neglect the child. But the issue is that the key systems around them, the support system around them that should have caught them were nowhere to be found. And what I would say is that this story is not unique. These are the daily key, like as realities that from our experiences and families we have engaged with face across Ghana where we work. And this really brings me to the argument that I will anchor everything today, is that families do not fail in isolation. They fail when the systems around them fail first. And I think when it's time for discussions, we will be glad to also hear others' perspective on these like an argument also as well. So today I will try as much as possible that we will walk through all the key actors that I would be presenting on today. That is the responsibility for families, specifically on the key actors, that is parents and caregivers, children and youth, and what I've termed the external forces, which we will deliberate much further deeper. Okay. So these three key actors. Now, when we talk about family responsibility, we must always be careful because in one way or the other, we do have an ideal picture on how a family should look like. And then in the event when we don't see those things, we try to judge them from that perspective or from that picture. But today's section, I would also want us to draw our attention to some of the key aspects that sometimes we try to overlook in situations where we would want to see families in the kind of ideal way we have pictured them. Now, in the aspect of child protection and even parents or families taking up responsibilities, it even dwells on the various policies that we have also drafted, that we also work with to ensure that we protect children as well. So we have the Children's Act that also places the primary responsibility of children on the parents and then caregivers. Now we also have the UN CRC, which sections of its articles also acknowledges both parental duties and the obligation of a state to support parents in fulfilling those responsibilities. And then when I was putting information together for this section, I was so much I saw this phrase so much happy, and then a very critical for us to look at. So you could see that all the international frameworks or the child policies document that guides the work we do as social service providers, or the state national actors that ensures the welfare of families and children, also places key responsibilities on what the state has to do. And it clearly shows that the responsibility on parents or families is not left on their shoulders alone. It's something that's meant to be shared. So as we are gathered here today, as in one way or the other, we review cases, assess families, situations to explore other interventions for them, and how do we approach it? So let's say a relatable example, like maybe a child that has been as an abandoned, and you come into contact with this case. Usually the first child protection question officers are likely to also ask, or usually to put blames on family. But here we are saying that we would expect the officers to look at what did the family do wrong. Now, it is what support did families never received that have probably put them in that as a situation. So all these frameworks tells us that. So when we assess families in that, as I say, in that perspective, do we only look at it from what they were not able to do, as to compare what the state also failed to do at this point to ensure that families are able to do their work well. So today we would go into each of these key as actors. That is basically the parents and the caregivers who are the primary duty bearers, the children, and then the youth who also are the right holders with growing agency also as well. And these are not passive objects. When Doc was giving a presentation, he said he did mention something on lived experiences. And then these are also key, especially when we would want to assess family, support them, look at where they fell short. Let's look at the individuals within, especially with the youth, and try to take their input into consideration. So here, lived experiences are key. Now, the other part is the external forces, which most of us here could definitely fall within these sections in the process of providing services, social services to vulnerable families. So these external forces, we feel that their duty is to enable families and basically not to simply judge them. So in the next few presentations or in the few minutes, we go into each of these sections. So now this is the approach here. Now for parents and caregivers, our families are really doing a lot. Recently, from the Mother's Day, like a celebration we just had, that was some days ago. That was Sunday. Yeah, so we could see how people were showering praises on their mothers and then posting them on their various statuses. So it definitely tells that even though there are other like as an exceptions, there are majority of parents or families or mothers taking up key like as responsibilities in the midst of the stress that they also go through as well. We believe that we would also see say on the Father's Day as well. Now, here are a brief that I would also like I can definitely touch on, but to applaud our parents. We see that they provide for food, shelter, and other clothing for their children. In the aspect of protection also, where they might not have any knowledge of the legal proceedings, what the legal framework even says, but they are ready to also protect children from abuse and then other exploitation actions. So we have other parents, other families who are doing well in that because sometimes our cultural perspective and how our society are made in one way or the other also helps us to try and ensure that we protect children, even though there are other like as an excesses also as well. When we come in terms of nurturing, children need love. Children have to grow in a home or in a community where there is love. They are guided, ensure that they are well disciplined, that they grow up to become very good key people within the society, responsible people. Socialization is there, they instill those values. So these are some of the key positive aspects that we see from families or from duty bearers, that's the mothers or other caregivers who are doing that. And now the most important part, which really drives us to the discussion of the inequalities that they face. We have the poverty and the economic crisis. So far, from all our experiences and from the field evidences that we have, what really undermines their capacity, that they are not able to sometimes live up to these like as expectations, as I already said, but the ideal picture is that poverty and economic crisis has been one of the key drivers, like as an across. Now we have a single parenthood and absent fathers in this also like as in situations also as well. And that is also undermining their capacity. You could see that we might have a father alone carrying all the responsibilities, a mother alone carrying this all the burdens on them. Fathers' economic situations could definitely push them away to go and then work in other places to be able to fend or to support with the well-being of these families. So there are a lot of pressures that leads to this. There are instances where we have low parental parents. There are other parents who are not aware of some of the child rights and then the development that they need to look at and some of the legalities and the consequences that it comes in the quest for them to exercise their duties, especially when it comes to disciplinary to discipline their children also as well. Even socialization, how they want to instill values and then dignity into these children. These are where sometimes when they have low, like as an awareness of what they believe in, what they would want to pass on to their children, and how it conflicts with the national frameworks and law that we have, which protects children. So these are other aspects that also like us undermines their capacity. We have domestic violence, substance abuse, substance like as abuse. These are all part of the key things that also undermines them. Now, one other aspect, our societies are like as an expanding. The pressures on us is pushing families away. So we have the urban migration, which is also breaking the extended family safety net system that we also have. So usually when you might come into contact with families on the street who are not ready to leave, but we try to exploit the kinship care, where we could definitely reintegrate some of these children, and the urbanization. Those who have migrated do not have any contact. You could see that it is really breaking those external safety systems and lack of social protection support. These are one key aspect that as social service providers, and then all of us who are here to ensure that families take up their key responsibilities to protect children, is something we need to take very serious. So these are some of the things we've sampled from the evidences. We also have the like as engagement with families. These are some of the key aspects of the informations that also beneath the various interventions that we also carry on to strengthen families as well. So now, so on this aspect, what I would say is that even majority of the families we are strengthening today, there's one single thing, where the economic pressures that they in the aspect of parental indifferences, yes, one would argue on that aspect, but we are looking at one key thing that runs through all, but the economic pressures that push them, and not necessarily the parental indifferences that drive these like I said, crisis. So that is why I would want us to channel our discussions around the systems and then the key duties of these families, their responsibilities. So now I'll kindly move to the next section, which is key for us. That is the children and the youth. As I said, these are with the lived experiences. These are people who are part of the families or the international framework that we work with also dwells on, that we need to hear their voices because they are key, and then they need to be active participants within the families because they have right, and we need to hear their voices. So in as much as we need to, families have to take up their responsibilities, there are other responsibilities for these children and then the youth as well, which is rightly there. So respect for parental authority, and then the household, which is really then they are to even participate in family decision making. I think when we are now, we would share our like as experiences from our childhood to today, and how we are also passing on this same like as nurturing to our children. Do our children also participate in decision making in the family at home? So these are other key things. Now they're supposed to attend school or even learn a skill. That is something that has been also passed on their key duty. Sorry, on upon the local school, go and then learn a trade, respect the elderly. So these are some of the things that we also look out for from these children. Well, there are instances where we might have younger, we might have youth who also provide care to their younger siblings where appropriate. And this is where sometimes when the cracks within the family happens, you could realize that there is a shift of responsibility on other older children, and some are supposed to stay home and to provide care for their younger siblings. And when you come into contact with some of these cases, why children are out of school, these are complex family, like as issues, situations that usually we also come in to close those gaps. Now, where the inequalities that we see among the children and the youth, where we say the economic pressures as well, usually put these children into other roles where they are not supposed to be in. You could see that they now graduate from light work from the home to now hawking, and then even in the situation of child labor on the street, and then which is key. Now, there are other school of thoughts that no, families can be strengthened, like I said, economically, but it doesn't mean that it will translate into the care of their children. So that is why usually for our family strengthening models, we try to ensure that in as much as we will strengthen families economically, so that they become, like I say, financially sound, that they are capable to take up the care of their children. We don't miss that gap of child protection and then proper care. Now, the aspect that drives, so when there are these inequalities there and then the cracks, it drives street migration. Usually, some of these children, we could see that poverty is also one of the key things that drive these children. They come to the street now, they would want to take care of themselves. If I tell you that in our daily street outreach, you could meet a child as young as 9 years, 6 years, 7 years collecting scraps. To be able to get money, feed himself, and then even send some to their well-able parents on the street. And then this is very critical. Now, there are instances where there are distorts in peer networks and their socializations. You could see that these inequalities, that children who had the same opportunities growing up, now the family pressures that they might find themselves in might leave others also behind. Their peers who also come from good families are able to also progress educationally. So there are instances where they grew together within the same community, but they get to a stage where they cannot link up, they cannot network properly because they are on different, like I said, stages, which we really also had to look at that. And the other aspect of their educational continuity. There are instances where through our back to school program, where we try to prepare out of school children and enroll them back into school. One of the difficult parts is how do you place this child in an age appropriate class that not only giving the child access, but the possibility that the child will be able to also retain in school. Would be happy to be good, would be happy to relate with the peers. So when the inequalities happens, families are not able to get access to the right, like us in support. It now trickles down to affect children in these aspects, and their education is something that also suffers also as well. So far, even though I'm not done with my like as a dissertation, but there are other few push and pull theories that we've also come out with, from the field, and then poverty is something that we are not taking out, which is also key in there. But the distortion within families are also key in there. Now we also see that from policy practice gaps are also there. And I think that today, after our session and various discussions, we will also come there that the policies are there to strengthen and support families. But where is the practice gap as it stands now? I would like to move to the next session, which is much of also interest for me as well. That is the external forces. Now, we say the family is a basic social unit. Yes, and now we've also learned that all the various international frameworks we work, all the policies that we have drafted nicely, clearly says that the responsibilities do not lie on their shoulders alone. They need support. So now let's look at what these external forces are also doing to also support families when there are cracks. And the acts that we want, what we are also asking, we have CSOs here, we have government reps also over here, with those who also work with within the local government also as well here. And I think this acts will definitely push through to them. Now, we are saying that in as much as we have all these policies, the Children's Act, the ISS now, which is also another platform for us to give like as integrated social services to support families and to have impact on the care of their children, which is also there. We have the ISSOPs, the recent review in 2021 that also ensures all the case management approaches that we need to also go through to manage cases and then give the best interventions for family. Our alternative care guidelines also place much emphasis on family-based care. So it's really important for us to look at that. Now, the gap in here is that we have insufficient funding, which has been key. We have weak enforcement of some of these policies and its implementations on the ground. And I think this is one of the aspects that on various workshops and other platforms, we've been speaking about these all the time. And I believe that after this section, this message will be sent like as in across the various sections that we also work and the advocacy work that we do to push this. Now, it's interesting from a recent child protection workshop that I was part like as an attended, and then it was key. One of the key gaps raised was that we have understaffed at the various departments of social welfare. Now there are staff also in there who are also not qualified also to be them. Now we have the social workers bill that now remains at the advocacy stage and legislative concentration, which hasn't been pushed. And this point, why is so much critical also for me is that social workers carry caseload that no human being can adequately manage. When we look at the social work client ratio, family ratio, it is key. Now, when we want to create a system, robust system that could be able to support and close the gaps where families fall short and brings them back on track to be able to assume their key responsibilities, then that system needs to have a personnel that who are professionals. So you cannot have a strong system without having the right personnel, without having the right professionals to be in this role. So for me, my ask here is that we need to push for this social workers bill, which has remained at this stage, and that would professionalize the work we do, place the right people at the right places, handle key family issues with professional judgment, regulate the resources and the workforce also like as well. So I know this is the fight for SWAG and then all other social workers like as an association that we also have, that's and key, and all well wishers that would want to see the practice of social work and social development, social service grow in a very strong stage and give the best to the families and children that we support. Now, when we come to the NGOs and civil society organizations, and what it promises is that it complements the state services. We have various family strengthening models that we do, the case management that we also do, which usually some of the services or the interventions that we provide also do us within the national frameworks. So at this point, it has become a very key topic. In the process, both within that external forces, providing the needed support, complementing with the effort of the state to support families. It's likely we might even create para functions. So it is key in there. So at this point, I think it's something we would also have to carry out to see how CSOs and then other NGOs can come together to even support and resource the Department of Social Welfare, and then the state-mandated institutions to also carry up their key responsibilities in supporting families as well, in which we are all also ready to also pledge our support in there. Now, usually for NGOs and civil society organizations, everything we do dwells on donor support. And usually when within with the donor space, these NGO bilateral and the multilateral agency space like this, and then the recent geopolitics that is going on, we've suffered from COVID and then up to these recent wars, you could see that funding has now become a very issue, and even there are more focus on how do we generate funds locally, which has also become key. So this aspect clearly says that NGOs see CSOs to strengthen families to take up their responsibilities. We need to rather look at how we can support state agencies as well. When in the aspect of sustainability, because you see, how do we do this like as sustainably? If NGOs and CSOs, if today we are to step back, can families function and take up those responsibilities alone? So we need to anchor every support we give to the systems around them, so that immediately we just step back, these systems are able to also help them. So family strengthening, supporting families dwells on strong systems. And that is why I think CSOs and then NGOs to be able to carry up some of these things. So we are saying that as we provide services, we need to transition from that stage to more of anchoring our services, our reintegration supports to more of the systems based. Now, the economy and the community, which are also key external systems that we need to also look at it. Now, as I already said, urban migration is now breaking the key extended family support system. You see, when I compare various assessments I do on other, like I said, international cases, and when we are planning interventions, the family is there, but you could see that there are strong systems in there that comes in to rescue the children immediately when there are cracks in the family, even though they might also have their issue. But one of the positive things that we have within Africa, and then even Ghana specifically, is that the kinship care. So that extended family network support, it is key. And then it's something that we need to also strengthen as well, in as much as we would also want to support that families stay stronger. Urbanization is breaking this. When we are placing a child in an alternative care through kinship care, what does our policies say about this? What are the supports there to be able to ensure that these caregivers are able to take up key responsibilities in protecting this child? Now, for us, we also believe in community-based care. So our community gatekeeping is key. We ensure that every community that we will be working have the strong child protection systems, community-led programs that also create awareness, that strengthen families, that ensure that the level of vulnerabilities in certain families are also brought to bear, refer for the needed support. So we can't only do this without the community as a whole, because family lives within these communities, and you strengthen communities, and automatically when you are strengthening families, it also becomes very possible for you to get the best outcomes also as well. Now, our ask is that government institutions with the local government to also ensure that we would also invest in community-based care and then child protection, even support parenting program. There is one ask that from the state that I do not also want to, forget, that family strengthening should also dwell on the shoulders on the local government, and that at least they can reference there are funds that also come to them. I think that can also start from the top, at the top where policies are also like formed, like or like at the formulated at the top, that they can also have discussions on this. That whenever they are allocating the district common fund, what I also learned from our other like as in program was a workshop, was a child protection program, was that when these funds are coming, there are other rules attached to it. 2% goes here, 3% goes here, and you don't find child protection in there. So what we are also asking government or state actors is that let's allocate at least 5% of these budgets to child protection within the various communities or within the various districts where we also work, to strengthen families, and definitely child protection will be also like as an assured. Now, on these aspects, that what has worked well for us, and these are purely from the field evidences, and then the various family strengthening that we have piloted within the southern region. We have realized that when we intervene, so when we intervene early, it is better that we don't wait for the families to just break down, or we don't come in to respond to the crisis that has already like us occurred, the harm. So it's quite like as important for us to ensure that definitely we intervene as early as possible. So that makes prevention very key for us. Now, economic empowerment, we have also learned that our livelihood supports are key. Some of these migrations that children come to the street depends on the kind of livelihood strategies that they've like adopted to be able to provide the best care for the family. So whilst we provide those support alongside with the social care, addressing poverty as the root causes. And then the other aspect is the community gatekeeping, that we ensure that every community that we work with has those child protection committees to also support families also as well. We also create channels where they are able to refer vulnerable families to our programs before they leave to the street. Now, we believe that we cannot do this alone. So that is why we also work in line with a coordinated case management systems. And we believe that whenever we have cases, we refer them through the appropriate channels using the ISSOP case management standard, and then through the ISS also as well. At least we collaborate. So the multi-agency coordination is something we also align and realize that it's best to help us provide a structured care plan for. Now, supporting families, parents, skills-based parenting program is one of the key things that has also helped, that we refer families to the appropriate agencies that can give them the best skills or training that they can work with. Now, in the aspect of all the family strengthening that we do and our case management, there is a step-down approach. At this section, we try to plan the transition of these families. And this stage, when families are exiting from the program, we try to ensure that their exit is safeguarded. All child protection concerns are noted and then worked on, so that we don't have relapse. In the event where there are triggers as national disasters, maybe a disaster happens, these are when we can revisit some of these things and then escalate on how we can still bring the family back into Eastern. So these are all some of the things that not only Transport, but other CSOs are also doing it. So this is our action for core, and then I'll bring my presentation to an end. So we have 3 acts for policymakers, funders, and then practitioners in this platform, in this room, that we are saying that let's fund family strengthening, that we don't wait until crisis like as it happens before we intervene. Let's intervene at the right time where we see there are cracks to support families. Now, let's push to pass the social workers bill, that Ghana cannot protect its families with an unregulated or underpaid, like I said, underpaid or overstretched social workforce. So the social workers bill must be passed and implemented with agencies so that we give the best support to families and children. Now, this is key. We are saying that let us refence the district allocation common fund to ensure that the 5% is really just saved for child protection issues at the MMDA levels, so that local government must be held accountable for family well-being also, not just the, like I said, infrastructure. So we need to push this. So this is a call. So we began with the story of the mother. Now this is how it's ended. Now the mother started working because she was connected to other agencies that gave the mother a skill training, that gave the mother, like I say, financial literacy trainings, and then she was able to start a business on its own, because we believe that she should be one of the sustainability drivers is that families should be able to take full responsibility of their children, and that is where our intervention starts. Immediately we give the immediate support, we look at the long term as well. So families went through that. So she was able to do that. Now I would say that she's stable, and then she's doing her best to ensure that these children stay in school and do not go back to the street. So the mother now today, we wouldn't say that she has become a better mother because we, like I said, intervene, or she wasn't, like I said, always the good mother. But she has become stable today because she has finally gotten the support that she always deserved. So I feel and still stand by my argument that families are not the problem. They are the solution when we invest in them rightly, when all state access come together to give them the best support. Thank you very much for this opportunity and the time and your audience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert Amoabeng Esiedu, Regional Manager, Chance for Children. Am I right?
Yes, exactly.
You did it very, very, very well. Colleagues, and please let's give a round of applause to our boss. In fact, this is a lecture on its own, and we have to have another session with you to give us more details on this program that you have. We appreciate your coming, and we love what you have given to us. God bless you. On the next of our program, we're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to have a panel discussion, which is going to take place in the next 20 to 25 minutes. Then we are off our program. So we are going to have some panel members to join us on stage so that we have this discussion on family issues. So our first member, our panelist we're going to introduce is Mr. Gilbert. You'll be with us again. Mr. Gilbert Amoabeng Esiedu, you'll be with us again. So come to the stage for us. Then we again have one lawyer and a trained social worker, also a writer of family issues. Is also going to be with us here on the stage. Then we have one Stella Kluche, a trained social worker and a member of SWAG. She happened to be the SRC president of School of Social Work, and now she is the alumni. She has graduated, so she's also going to be with us here. Madam Stella Kluche, if you are here, please kindly get prepared and be on stage for us. Our own president of Social Workers Association of Ghana, Mr. Divine, aka Ehogbe, we also invite you to be on stage to be part of the panelists to discuss very pertinent issues that is bothering our family system. Once again, I remind you that this program was in collaboration with Social Workers Association of Ghana and the NGO that Reverend Dr. Comfort Asare is running. So please, let's give them the necessary accord that they deserve. So we have our panelists, four members on the panelists. We are going to have a very short discussion. If you are ready, please let me know. So we begin. Our panel members, kindly unmute your mic. If I mention your name, then you respond so that I'll know that you are around. Mr. Gilbert Amoabing, please. I hope you are ready.
Yes, please. I'm here.
Always ready to. Always ready. Madame Stella Kluche, are you also ready with us?
Yes, please. I'm here.
All right. So prepared. Then Mr. Divine Ehogbe. Divine Ehogbe.
Good evening to you all. I'm more than the word ready to meet you. And you are all welcome.
Then we have our lawyer is also here. If you are here, just let us know your presence, that you are here. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Good evening to everyone. I'm here with you. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. All right. So this is how we are going to have our discussion. It's going to be very simple. And my first question will go for chance for children. We are looking at family inequalities and how to strengthen it. You've given us so many things that is in the process of bridging the gap of inequalities in families. I want to find out what are family inequalities, or what family inequalities are most among children and families that you support in your line of work. What are the most family inequalities that you come across, and then you propose to support in that order?
Yeah. Okay. So Daniel, thank you for this question. So briefly, for inequalities from our perspective, we will look at it from at a perspective of how different families raise their children. So definitely you can see that a family that has a strong system are able to raise their children to have the best outcome as compared to other families who most of the inequalities that we have seen, and what it drives most is the aspect of economic inequality is key. We have families that have unequal access to education, unequal access to the support systems around them. So these are all these are some of the inequalities that we see that breaks that distinction, that brings that distinctions. So families who automatically are facing some of these inequalities may not be able to take up those key responsibilities for their children, as compared to those who have strong family ties, they have access to the systems, their work are going on well and providing those care. So for transport, for all our work, for all our engagement with families, as I already said, where the economic inequality stands out. And you could see the ripple effect in how they even have access to quality healthcare. You see, and even here, you can have access to education. You can even have access to healthcare because we have the national health insurance. Now we have the free compulsory basic education, that's the FKIP. Now we have the exist school feeding program. That all creates access. Now the question is the quality. Will you get the quality education that you want? Will you get the quality healthcare? And then that is where where we come in. Immediately, these inequalities are there. We try to create access to the systems there and then ensure that they get the best of quality that they also need. So for chance for children, so how do we handle these gaps? So we don't just identify these like as inequalities and just leave them. That is why we have our family strengthening models, where we assess the family situation first, identify their strength, where we can build on to be able to close that gap. We try to connect with other CSOs, other various like as NGOs to ensure that, we can do A, B, C, D. But we realize that this family also lacks maybe Z, Y, or something. Then we believe that this agency can be able to also come in to support. So in as much as we identify these inequalities, we try to move a step further to close these gaps, connect them to other institutions, and then overall, we monitor these families, assess their progress, and see how they transition from one stage to the other. So briefly, that is how I see it. These are the key inequalities that we see: economic inequality, unequal access to education, healthcare, and the support system. And then the most importantly is the youth that sometimes we have in these families. They do not have equal access to like opportunities. We have high youth unemployment. And then there is this business club that we also have. And we asked them, what problem do you also have with the youth? They said it's the right attitude, the right skills. So as part of our TVET program, as part of our youth programs too, so we try and ensure that they get the right skills to be able to compete within the like as industry, get the right jobs and income. So we try to look at it, like I said, holistically. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gilbert. Quick one. Lawyer, please. What are some of the what is the, these inequalities has to do with we having duty bearers. Mr. Gilbert just mentioned the right holders and the duty bearers, which we know the state is the ones to do that. Now, lawyer, what are some of the legalities and the legal issue that can happen in this regard when it comes to inequalities? Before I'll take, and this one is just a quick one. I just pick it because Mr. Gilbert mentioned it, and I want you to react to it quick for me. Some of the legalities. What is the law saying? What is the law saying about these inequalities? If lawyer, please, can you handle this one for me? Quick one.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening to all the panelists and then our listeners as well. Am I audible, please?
Yes, please.
All right. So taking your question directly, I want to give you the premise. You see, most of the times it is low education that cause people to act or conduct themselves in a way. In as much as people may have duty, they owe duty under the laws or the statutes of Ghana to ensure the best interest of the child is served. Most people may refuse to or neglect on providing those fulfilling or satisfying those duties simply because there is low education, because they are not much aware. We all know that apart from the state, the family itself, where we have parents and other supporting personalities, the family is the solid rock in the life of a child. So if the parents or the supporting people like uncles and the distant family and things are ignorant about the rights of the child, that is the rights that the child enjoys under the law, certainly those rights will be denied or deprived the child. And that will lead to a violation of the child's fundamental rights under the laws of Ghana. The Constitution is explicit. The acts of Ghana are explicit, specifically the Children's Act and even the Criminal Offences Act, and makes provision of livelihood, as in the needs of a child, a duty. So if it is a duty, then refusal to provide or to fulfill or satisfy those duties make it an offense under the laws. And so when you read section 79 of Act 29, Act 29 is the Criminal and Other Offences Act. It says that where a person who owes duty under the law to provide maintenance, as in livelihood and health for the child, refuses to do that, the person commits an offense. And if you commit an offense, then you are liable under the law for prosecution. And so the public must be aware on the question that you asked me specifically, that where duty bearers, specifically parents, refuse to provide for the child and therefore deprives the child livelihood, that such people can be prosecuted, and in fact you can go to jail for refusal to provide the necessaries of life for your own child. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about, but you asked me to be brief, so this is a brief one. And then when you come with my main question, then we can speak to that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. So take this one again. I want to look at family inequalities. What does it look like in today's dispensations? And then how does it directly affect child? Are you getting my question?
Yes, I'm getting you. I was losing at a point, but I think I've gotten your question.
Okay. All right,
I would want to briefly talk about three inequalities. I think Gilbert has given us a lot of dimensions to inequalities in the family, so we don't have to belittle the point. But I will want to dwell on the issue of low education again. One of the causes of, or what I would term as inequality, is that the knowledge level of people who are stakeholders in the life of a child, starting from the state, coming to the parents, coming to guardians, coming to other people like schools and other churches who handle children in one way or the other. I would say that low education is one of the inequalities because our knowledge levels are not the same. Someone might know the law pertaining to the rights of the child, and therefore will be ready to satisfy those rights and ensure that the child enjoys those rights. Other people might not have knowledge at all. I don't know. This one may go directly to Gilbert. You've spoken a lot, but we have not heard anyone speaking about inequality pertaining to hindrances to a child's medical care based on religious belief. So that is one of the inequalities I will want to talk about. Good. Inequalities in terms of religious beliefs, because different people believe in different things, and their beliefs inform what they do and what they do not do. And there are such people who belong to a particular religious sect, and it is their belief that a child must not be given access to particular treatments under the law simply because their religion does not permit of that. There are religions operating in Ghana and for that matter the world where they think that blood transfusion or transmission to a child is an offense for them under their belief. And so therefore, when the child is so anemic and goes to hospital, and the hospital needs the consent of parents to be able to transfuse blood and to undertake certain treatment, the person, such a parent, simply denies the consent. And where the consent is denied, the health workers refuse to, or they fail to administer the treatment to the child. And sometimes we lose a lot of children in our hospital settings simply because guardians and parents, based on their religious beliefs, withdraw or refuse to give their consent for certain procedures to be performed for the child or in the best interest of the child. And so the health workers must also know that they do not have to rely on a parent's consent or a guardian's consent before they administer health care to a child. So if you are a medical officer and you refuse or decline to give a particular treatment to a child that you know will save the child's life, for example, blood transfusion, because the parents have not given their consent, and you, the health worker, fails to do so, then you are liable under the law, specifically Section 8, subsection 2 of the Children's Act at 560 of 1998 specifically says that no one shall deprive a child access to medical care based on religious belief. So if I am a parent and I believe that I do not support blood transfusion to someone who is anemic and the person should rather die as compared to blood transfusion, then that is my belief. I can practice that to myself, but I shouldn't allow that to be a hindrance to a child's access to medical treatment. So religious belief is one of the inequalities. And I've mentioned also education or low education. We can't say lack of education, because at least there's some education there. Gilbert and co are doing so well, but the education might be low, inadequate. So we have to increase to educate people on the rights of the child, because moderator, we have a lot of rights of the child. If I should be permitted to mention just a few. Right of the child to maintenance, right to grow up with parents, right to name from birth, right to education, right to non-discrimination, right to social activity, right of opinion, right to refuse betrothal and marriage, right to medical care and treatment, right to protection from torture, right to protection from exploitative labor and hazardous work. And it continues like that. Right to protection against exposure to moral hazards. All these are rights that a child and the Ghanaian child enjoys. But question is, how many people are aware of this? How many parents or caregivers or guardians are aware of this? So one of the inequalities is low education and advocacy. So we will suggest and propose that more advocacy has to be done to create awareness on the rights of the child, so that when people know, they are likely to perform. And if they refuse to, even where there is knowledge, then there is where violation comes in, and the law will hold them responsible for not providing the necessaries for a child, to the extent that such a person or caregiver can go to jail. Thank you.
Wow. This is very deep. Thank you so much. You know, there are certain things that we don't enforce it. Right now, you just mentioned the blood transfusion side, that even if a medical officer refuses to administer, that medical officer is liable to commit an offense. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things to do. You know, this religion and cultural thing that is depriving some of our children and from receiving medical attention is very serious. It's very serious, and then we have to look at it in a different way. Now that lawyer you just mentioned of the legalities and the criminalities involved in it, we have to give it a very good thought. Else,
just permit me 1 second. Just 1 second to top up with what you are saying. You see, recently there was a death that occurred, and a committee was set up where professor was supposed to carry out an investigation and come out with recommendations. The recommendations are out. Certain medical practitioners have been tipped to face punishment from their enabling. Exactly so. But then people are crying. The same society is crying. Why we should mention the name of those health workers, and that it amounts to victimization and then scapegoating. And I find that very unfortunate. A doctor or a nurse, or to make it simple, a health worker, you owe a duty of care to anybody that works into your institution. And so for you to refuse to attend to someone for whatever reason, including the person's religious belief, will constitute what is called negligence. And the meaning of negligence is simply a reckless disregard for human life. Reckless disregard for human life, which means that the life of the person that is appearing before you, particularly in this context, a child who is so anemic and is sick, and you know very well as a medical practitioner that the only thing that will be the basis for the child's recovery is blood transfusion. And the parent is saying that I am declining my consent for blood to be transfused. And you, the medical practitioner or the caregiver, you consent with, or you rely on the statement by the caregiver or the parent, and say that if the parent is not giving the consent, then what can I do? I'm also helpless. It means that you are being negligent under our laws. And then many of that negligence is simply reckless disregard for human life. If you have respect for the human life that is appearing there, you will act even against the religious belief of the parent, and you will save life first. When you save the life, let the parent take you on. Then we will come in as legal practitioners and to your defense. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so Daniel.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, hello, Daniel.
Yeah, you are okay, Mr.
Yeah.
You want to add up?
Yeah. So I wanted
quick one. We have 2 more people.
Yes. To what our brother just shared, lawyer just shared. So yes, I decide that cultural and the aspect of like our faith, religion, it has also become like as in a source of strength within families. So that one we cannot also like as in like as undermine that. But there are instances where I think that the interpretation of some of these religious faith and then the belief are likely to also create the like as inequalities that Law just cited and like as an example on this. So in as much as they are there to also help strengthen us as a source to strengthen families, sometimes their interpretation. So you could see that the key thing is that it might not necessarily be the like as in where the religion or the beliefs that they have, but the interpretation of what they stand for and the application is where usually some of these things are. So I think as CSOs and social service providers and key actors within the human development space, it's very critical for us that we work with these religious organizations, faith leaders, to be able to promote fairness, dignity, and trying to ensure equal opportunities for children and then families as well. So this is what I wanted to contribute in like as addition to what our able lawyer shared now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gilbert. I think this particular issue should be a research on its own. Personally, some group of people have come to my office and they have advocated that they are for no blood transfusion, but they have alternative to, which the alternative that they are proposing. Then it is not as fast as doing blood transfusion. This is an issues that supposed to be a national concern, and I think we will get there. We will find time to well and have those people who have those positive, we invite them to come and give us more, because before they can give that transfusion and that the alternative, they have to get, that's why they involve social workers to partner so that we can do the basic background check of the patients before they take that alternative medicines. Thank you very much. Before we go, we have about 2 more people to talk about an issue, then we go. Our time is almost due. Madam Stella, please, are you with us? Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Sorry.
All right. So, please, I have a question for you. Yes, as you are a trained social worker, all right. I want you to help us know one change in the last 5 years that has either worsened a family equity in Ghana. Any change in the last 5 years in the line of your duty that has worsened a family equity in Ghana? Did you get my question well?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Stella. Unfortunately, I found myself in a situation I will not be able to turn on my video. I hope
no problem. Go ahead.
To answer the question, as a trained social worker, one major change I have observed in the last few years that has worsened family equity in Ghana is the rising cost of living and economic hardship. Many families struggle to afford basic needs such as quality education, healthcare, housing, and proper nutrition for their children. This situation affects low-income families mostly, creating a wider gap between those who have the opportunities and those who do not. I have seen cases where children have to drop out of school just because of financial issues, and then end up facing neglect and are even exposed to unsafe environments, like we said before. Many parents are overwhelmed just because many parents are overwhelmed with financial issues. At the same time, awareness around mental health, child protection, and women's empowerment have improved slightly, which I think is positive. However, economic pressure continues to be one of the biggest threats to the family equity and child well-being today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But before that, I think on your issue, that is why the government has even introduced this LEAP and other social intervention programs to some extent address this inequalities gap. Or you say that one too is not enough, or there's more for us to do?
There is more room for employment. There is more room for development. We need to improve that. But what I also noticed is that not many are aware of some of these opportunities given. You will still find it strange that you ask someone if someone knows about this LEAP, and you still be surprised nobody knows about it. Some people do not know about it. So I think more education needs to be given to these people on some of these opportunities the government is putting on their doorsteps, so as to relieve them of some of this hardship.
Well, yeah, well noted. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Moderator, sorry to barge in. I want to give a little substantiation to what the question you have asked and the reaction our sister has given. Okay. And I'm bringing the perspective of law. Okay, for us in law, the law doesn't say that if you are economically empowered, you should be responsible for your child. The law says that parents shall. It is an obligation and it's a duty for you to maintain or be responsible for your child. The law doesn't say that if you are working and you have a lot of money, then you should maintain your child. The law doesn't say that if you are not working, then the child must not eat and the child must not be clothed.
Once the child is out,
once the child is out, that child is vulnerable, that child is helpless, and that child relies and depends solely on the immediate caregivers who are the parents and any other supporting agents. The duty lies directly on the parent. And so the law, which is specifically the Children's Act, is so clear. It says parents shall at all times, or at all material times, the law says parents shall. Now listen to what Act 29 has provided. That is the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Section 79, subsection 6. Section 79, subsection 6. This is what it says. If a person is under a duty to provide the necessaries of health and life for a child, but he does not have the means of performing the duty, and there is any person or public authority bound to furnish him with the means, he is under a duty to take all reasonable steps for obtaining the means from such a person or authority. So simply what the law is saying is that if there is a parent who is not empowered enough economically, in other words, he does not have the economic power to perform his duty by providing for a child, and there is any person or a public authority who can give him or who is under another obligation to give him the means to meet the needs or perform his duties under the law, such a parent must take all reasonable steps to contact the public authority, that is the state institution, or the individual who has the means, so that he can access the means and use that one to perform his duty of meeting the needs of the child. So if you do not have money or you are economically deprived, it is not enough for you to sit down. You must take all reasonable steps to seek and search for where you will get the money or the means or the help. If it is education for the child, seek for education for the child from any state agency or any NGO or any individual who is placed to be able to support the child. So you cannot fold your arms and sit down and simply say that economically I do not have. That has been the excuse in my practice as a social worker for almost getting to 30 years now. That has been the excuse. And in your offices as social workers too, it is the same. When people come in there, the excuse they give is, I don't work. My work doesn't pay me better. So if you don't work, should the child be hungry? Or if the child is sick, the child must not be medically attended to? The law says that you must take the reasonable step to approach the person or state institution that has it. For example, the LEAP which you have referred to. If there is LEAP and you are an old person and you know that you do not have money, what stops you from taking the step to assess that provision? So the obligation and the duty, it lies on the person, and the law doesn't give room for any excuse. Thank you.
Very soon we come to question and answers, and everybody will have, if you have any suggestion or question, you can ask. But before that, I would like to ask Mr. President for SWAG, what is your take on this issue? Family negative effect on a child well-being, the negative activity the family does to affect the child's well-being. Can you please give us more elaborations on that, or respond to this issue for us? Quick one.
Thank you very much. And I thank all the speakers, especially our mother, who have done a very good job for us, and we'll never forget this day. But I seize the opportunity also to welcome the principal of School of Social Work, Madam Yvonne Norman. She is there with us. And Madam, you are welcome. We really cherish you. You see,
I've seen a Deputy Director of Social Welfare, Victoria. So
people are there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm not seeing the participants list. So anyway, President, please go ahead.
We don't have time.
Yes, the home is to be safe haven for the child. But if the home tends to be hell for the child would tend to where he or she will get solace. But in most cases, these children tend to fall in the wrong hands. For instance, when the home is not conducive for the child will go to the street. And if that child is not fortunate enough, you may fall in the hands of criminals. And these criminals, in my practice as probation officer, most of the time they are the ones these children are the ones that they use to pass through narrow gates and even windows to steal people for them. And if it's like that, then the future is not safe. Most of the time also, you see these children joining other street children, sleeping in the open, and they are exposed to other vices, which you know of. And this is not the list. It goes on and on and on. But other speakers have spoken a lot, and I would like to end my submission here so that we take more questions and then we'll answer them. And I thank you very much for the great work that you are doing.
Thank you so much, Presdo. Thank you so much for being part of this program, and we admire your hard working for SWAG. God bless you. At this point, we would like to take questions. The panelists are still there. They have not dissolved their seat yet. So please, if you have any question, we have only 10 minutes for the questions. 10 minutes. Anybody can ask question, and then the panelists can answer. So let's be quick so we can draw the curtains to this meeting. Mr. Kweku Adade Stephen, your hand is up. Kindly take the mic.
Yes, Mr. Daniel. Yes, good evening to. Yeah, good evening. Basically, I'm not going to ask a question, but I just want us to be guarded as we are going to ask questions. We are also live on YouTube, and we shouldn't be so sensitive in some of the things, because I'm getting some warnings from my YouTube channel that some of the issues are sensitive. and therefore our video can be pulled down. So whilst we are going to ask persons, we should be moderate in the words we use and all that, so that we will not have any issue with our YouTube channel. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We are being guided. Good. Please, questions. We have to ask 1 or 2 questions for our panelists. Our directors are here. If you have any questions for them, you can go ahead and ask the questions. Okay, so if we have no other questions to ask, it means we are bringing our program to an end. So I think we still have our mother here, Reverend Dr. Asare. If you are still here. Okay, so there's a hand up. There's a hand up. All right. Madam, please, you can talk. Madam Augustina, lady.
Okay.
Okay,
good evening to all of us.
Good evening.
This is a very interesting session that I would just like to make a few suggestions regarding the health-wise and religious norm. I think in that section, people that, or let me say, the religion that is involved should go a bit higher in authorities to have this sort of engagement and, should I say, sensitization. As for social workers, we may be informed or we may be sensitized that if a client comes to your office and there is the need for the person to have some medical care, and it should be this kind of blood transfusion or any other sort of medical care, which is vis-a-vis their religious norms, we should be able to stand in for the person. We can, but you see, in the medical field too, there are other obligations that the health workers must obey. Because if you are a health worker and the patient walks into your health facility, it is your duty, as we all know, to give health care to the person. But here is the case: if the person is refusing a certain treatment, or let me say a treatment you are giving the person, I'm sure you can't force the person to have it. Because if maybe at the end of the day, anything differently happens to your patient, I think you will have your health facility to have you sanctioned or your license being taken. So the all religious bodies that think certain health practices shouldn't be meted out to their should I say members, should go a bit higher in authorities for this engagement and sensitization. Because for at our level, it is just the lowest. Let me just use the word. Excuse me to use that. It is just the lowest, and I don't think I'll sit down for a child who needs this medical care to be refused and then maybe lose his or her life. I'll go the extra mile to make sure he receives the care he needs. But the health worker also have certain obligations and rules to follow at his or her health facility. So I think those religious bodies can go to that higher extent and all that. And just briefly about the economic instability. Yes, some parents are willing to give the best to their child, but whatever they are into, whatever economic activity they are doing, it just can't provide for all the family, because the family size is just too huge. So as we have the LEAP, for instance, the LEAP, we all know, is not a walking something or a membership, if I should say. It carries goes through certain processes and all that. Because we all have wished that in our small communities, in our in our small district, people that are really in need, that we think they can be supported through some of these social protection policies, it is just not in our hands to do that. So I think the sensitization will go on anyway, so that in future, these our families can be able to meet that economic gap we are all talking about. Because see, a lot of things, should I say, are really kind of going against, should I say, going against our families in our small towns and all that. They are peasant farmers. Those who are in the cash crop farmers, we are all in the news, we are all in the internet. We know what is going on, which is not even the fault of the government anyway. But some of this is it is their livelihood. That is where they get their source of income to help their children. But a lot of things are kind of. So I'll just end here and then wish everybody a good evening. This is a nice program. I wish that from time to time we'll have a different topic to all discuss about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your submission, Madam. Yeah, all too soon our program is about to end. I'll take this opportunity to acknowledge very important people who have just joined us. I didn't know, forgive me. Our own principal, School of Social Work, is here. Madam Yvonne Norman, you are welcome. Thank you for being part of this program. So as Madam Abenadu Fie is also here with us. Madam, you are welcome. Madam Yvonne Kwara, you are also welcome to join us here. And then Madam Audrey Ateje is also here with us. Thank you so much for joining us here. And I also acknowledge the presence of all Social Workers Association of Ghana members and everybody that are present to be part of this program. You are all welcome. We are ending the program with a closing remark from Reverend Dr. Comfort Asare, our former National Director of Social Welfare. Madam, please, if you are still with us here, yes, kindly let us hear from you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And don't forget, I'm now an executive director for my NGO.
I always want to remember them, take me.
So my NGO actually works on family strengthening. And the name is Happy Family Movement. It's a movement. So everybody is invited to join, because we must make impact and we must change the way families handle their members. And I also want to acknowledge the participation of Mrs. Victoria Bishop. She's a Deputy Director at Social Welfare, and she's also online. I'm grateful to all of you for joining. Yes, so we have talked a lot, and as we were cautioned concerning the YouTube streamlining, the things we were saying, we shouldn't be emotional when we are talking about some of these issues. We don't work in the medical field, and we should be very careful when we talk about the health sector. Ours is social work. Even though health plays a role, it comes in, we go there, we have medical social workers. We don't know the inside out of their rules and their responsibilities too. I think we were a bit harsh when we were discussing about some of the topics. We are all learning. So when we are making our points, we should just make our points and don't be emotional about it. We all have passion for children. I remember one day I was in my house and I heard a child crying as if somebody was killing her. I rushed out of my home with a guest that I had. At that time, I had an American, a Caucasian visiting me. So she followed me. And when we went, this child was being beaten by the mother, severe beatings, because she ate the only bowl of banku that was left for the family. The child was hungry and went there in the afternoon, saw the banku and ate. That was all. So she was killing the child. And all 5 children were at home, they were not in school. So we had to mobilize funds and send them to school. So people are doing a lot. Government is doing a lot. You social workers, everybody is doing a lot. And all our discussions still boils down to the fact that inequalities are caused by economic, social, cultural, and gender-based factors. And we all know this in our lives. We know it in our communities. We know it in our families. And if we are able to overcome some of these challenges, then families too will be up and doing, and families will be able to take care of their children and reduce inequalities. We see the role of families as a unit that should protect their children, that should protect even their adult members. But as we have learned, urbanization has made people migrate, and gradually we are having the nuclear family system. And so the extended family ties are breaking down gradually. We are having high numbers of single parents, and there are a whole lot of vulnerabilities and weaknesses that accompany some of these challenges. Then we talked about parental capacity. We have parents who don't have good income. So a parental capacity can be shaped by the income the person takes. It can be shaped by the person's educational level. You don't have money. You can't take care of the 2 children you have, but every day you are giving birth. They are the ones who even have high number of children. They can have 7 children, 6 children, 8 children, and people are doing all sorts of things. A friend of mine shared a very horrible story with me. She met a woman by the roadside in labor. She picked this woman and right there to the hospital. And the woman told the hospital, the staff there, that she is the sister. So she must be made to pay her bills. They shouldn't allow her to go. It became a big issue. Just supporting this person because she doesn't have, and she has a lot of children. So she was putting the blame on an innocent person who is not related to her in any way, who does not know her, but decided to offer a helping hand. And this is very serious. So it's even making some parents criminals just to ensure that they provide for their children. And then mental health too. It's very important to build parental capacity. Then the social support that they have. We talked about LEAP. LEAP is doing marvelously well, but some people still take LEAP and they don't take care of their children. They are supposed to take LEAP. You can use the money to do little businesses. Some have used it to promote themselves financially. They have expanded their businesses. Others too, they take and they still sit down and wait for government to come and feed them. So I heard one of the panelists talking about it and saying that you can't put your blame on anyone. You are supposed to care for the children, but then if they are unable to care for the children, it is the children who matter. So states must take over and help. Then we are talking about the vulnerabilities that come with inequalities. We see a lot of the children falling from school, falling out of school. We see the children on the road, on the streets. Some are growing up there. And sometimes when you even offer support, there had been situations where children have been taken off the streets, given support, and they go back to the streets. And even the parents also go for the children and go back to the streets. So there are a whole lot of things that we have to look at. Then migration is also playing a role, affecting the family system, affecting the family strengthening agenda that government has been pursuing and NGOs, CSOs have been pushing. And the informal systems too, as I've said already, the extended kinship care, community networks, they are all breaking down. these days we see religious groups rather coming up and playing a lot of role. People go to church or they go to the mosque, wherever they go, and they come home with food. They come home with clothing and all that. So a lot of people are doing things to support families. But then as social workers, what we have to do is just encourage people to take up their responsibilities. We don't fight them. We don't shout at them. We encourage them, and then we build their capacities for them to be able to care for their children. I think it has been a very wonderful time. The discussions have gone on well, and we've all learned that we are all participants of the agenda to push equality in families. Nobody should take him or herself out. All of us have a role to play. All of us. I'm working with a community, and when you go there, if you see even the dressing of the youth, you wonder the kind of parents they will be in future. So we have a big issue at hand, and UN is encouraging everyone to rise up and discuss family matters, discuss the issues that are affecting families, and help promote child well-being, and also help reduce inequalities that impact families. I end my concluding remarks here. And once again, I want to thank Ghana Association of Social Workers Association of Ghana. But the Abena is with Gas, so they are all here. So I've always told you people, let's come together, let's be one body. And I hope that one will be achieved in future. So I'm so grateful to you. You have moved swiftly, you have helped, and you have made this a very big success. And I'm really, really grateful to you, Divine, and your team, and all the members of SWAG. God bless you. And as you said, there are a whole lot of interesting topics. We shall come around, discuss them, and if God willing, we get the grace, we shall meet in person to have some training. So God bless you so much. God bless you. I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you very much. We will contact you and join the movement. Everybody must join this
everybody
movement.
must join. We are changing Ghana.
Yeah, a positive movement, of course.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. So once again, I acknowledge the presence of all participants, GASO members, SWAG members, or everybody that made it to this program. May God richly bless you. We may take a closing prayer from Pastor Emmanuel Dokodi, and he close us with the blessings of the Lord. Pastor, if you are here, if you can hear me, kindly close us. Give us a closing prayer.